Insight provided housing for people with mental health disabilities in the city of Costa Mesa in Orange County. And the housing was designed for people with mental health disabilities who most of the time had some kind of crisis in their life, maybe even got some treatment in an institution for that, and then needed a supportive place to live for a little while before they returned to the place they had been before.
With Insight, they were a supportive housing provider. They were meant to be transitional housing. So their residents weren't meant to stay there for the long term. It was meant to be a stepping stone between when they were in a residential treatment setting or an inpatient treatment setting and then going back and reintegrating into society.
Insight got a notice from the city saying, hey, you're providing group housing for people with disabilities. You need a conditional use permit for that. So Insight applied, and a very long time went by. And then the city said, actually, we're going to deny your conditional use permit. So then Insight asked for a reasonable accommodation. So Insight made that request, and the city said, no. Insight had no choice if it wanted to continue providing this housing to sue the city of Costa Mesa. And shortly after Insight filed the lawsuit, our client Jane Doe joined the lawsuit as well. We got everybody prepared for trial. We got right up to the very end. And then the trial was going to be on a Monday at the end of October. The Friday before the Monday of trial, the parties were able to settle the case. One of our original primary goals was for Insight's housing to continue to be allowed to exist in the city of Costa Mesa. Unfortunately, um, it is very expensive to litigate against a city. Insight was represented by private counsel, and so had to pay out of pocket. And over the course of the litigation, which, again, took 5 years, even if you just look at DRC's involvement, um, they weren't able to continue, and they ultimately ended up having to shut down the housing. As part of the settlement agreement, the city has agreed to review its reasonable accommodation ordinance and bring it into compliance with state and federal disability access and fair housing laws. The city also had to pay a total of $1.75 million in attorney's fees.
So NIMBY stands for Not in My Backyard, and it is this notion of when we're talking about housing, that communities don't want affordable housing or group homes or low income housing or public housing. They don't want it in their communities. They want it to be elsewhere. They don't want it to be their quote unquote problem.
Any type of housing can be a problem, or not a problem. It's just going to depend on who's living there. Assuming that a group of people with disabilities who live together are going to be a problem for their neighbors, or somehow incompatible with the rest of the community, is based on fear and stereotype and absolutely nothing more.
This case as a whole puts them on notice that DRC is advocating for the rights of people with disabilities in accordance with our mission, that we are ready to hold them accountable if we see them acting against the interest of people with disabilities. And my hope for other jurisdictions is that they will similarly, one, understand that they cannot just trample over the rights of its citizens, and two, maybe be a little worried that we will bring similar actions against them, and mainly just cause them to think twice.
We all benefit from living in an integrated community. We all benefit from having everybody around us, including people with disabilities like Jane Doe and like others.